right, let's get started. Thanks a lot first for coming. I'm Fabian. I'm working for Liquid Reply. Maybe the one or the other has realized that we also have a booth just outside of this room. So if you go outside and then to the right. So if you still think that this is an interesting topic, even after hearing my presentation, then please come by. So we can show you a demo, we can get in touch, we can discuss your questions, more detailed questions. We will have plenty of time there. So just feel free to come by at our booth. Yeah, the topic, what do I want to talk about? I want to talk about LLMOps and why I think this is a cool and necessary concept for AI usage, but also for AI adoption for enterprises. At least that was what I thought, let's say a couple of months ago when I started to prepare for this presentation. By now I think that this concept that I'm presenting to you is not only for enterprises, it's actually also very, very valuable for smaller companies and for mid-sized companies. So I will present you also with a reference architecture with an approach. It's modular, it's step-by-step, so you can get started quite easily and benefit from it already. So LLMOps, if I say somebody needs something, then I obviously also have to justify why that is needed. And usually you only need something if you want to improve something or if you want to fix a certain problem. So the problem you can approach with LLMOps is, it was quite nicely described just a couple of weeks ago. I had a discussion with somebody, and that person said, we have AI here and there. That's actually true for a lot of companies. I had assumptions, and I was reflecting that assumptions with him, or these assumptions with him. And yeah, he confirmed it basically. And it's about these bullet points here. So a lot of companies having a lot of tools. You have multiple teams maybe, and team A is using a tool, team B is using another tool, team C is maybe using the same tool, but is not benefiting really from it because it has a different configuration. So we kind of have this, wild west of AI tools that are being used, of AI models that are being used. It's not really clear who is using what, which tool does really provide in the end, a positive return on invest, because that's what you're interested in as a company. So the tools and the models you're using, they should be beneficial for your business cases. If you're using a lot of tools, then yes, of course, at the end of the month or the quarter, you will get a bill and you have to pay for it. That's for sure, but that's not really what I say is financial control. Financial control is for me more about understanding for what you're paying money, what are you getting back if you're spending money, because you want to get something positive back. So that's for me then also financial control. And if you're using many tools, then it's not very unlikely that you will also lose visibility or transparency regarding which data is flowing where. You might not be really sure which team is maybe sending out data that the team is not really supposed to send out to, let's say, a third-party AI LLM provider. And we were discussing also other aspects, like we're living in these super fast changing times, so the tools you're betting on today, you don't know if next week, or maybe next week, that's a bit exaggerated, but next month or next quarter, these tools are still the ones that are best to solve your business needs. So the question is, where does this issue coming from? Where is it coming from? And kind of the root cause is not that really complex to explain. On the one hand side, you have AI consumers, like teams or people, they just want to use maybe a certain model, they want to test things out, they want to be quick in the iterations, and that's quite important, and it should be easy to use. And honestly, if you think about how certain AI providers, LLM providers, do their business, it's very easy to use them. So you just hand out your credit card details essentially, and you get back an API key, and then you can go and build your stuff. So that's very easy to use, that's very convenient. And that's important also for iteration speed. So you want to keep that speed actually in the teams. But as a company, you do have actually also other requirements. So it shouldn't only be easy for the users to use certain models. For them, it's also important that the tools that are being used, that they are secure and compliant. You don't want to risk being exposed in an unacceptable level to cyber threats just because you're using a certain tool or a certain model. And the same is true for compliance. You don't want to hand out your intellectual property or personal identifiable information. I mean, it obviously always depends on the use cases. But this is what is important from a company perspective, and the list goes obviously on. Cost efficiency, that's becoming more and more important. you need to know where you are spending your money, for what you are spending your money. And then performance and transparency, that's obviously also very important, right? So if you're paying for a certain tool, then you should be fine that you're expecting a certain performance, so that whenever the solution that the tool is providing is needed, that it's also actually available, and you have the transparency which tools are being used where. Last point here is sovereignty. This obviously depends on what you are doing as a business and where you place sovereignty as part of your risk management. And I personally would say sovereignty should be part of every risk management, or at least risk assessment, and then you can decide how important it is to you. And if it is very important, then obviously if you're using a certain model or AI tool, you need to make sure that it follows your guidelines regarding sovereignty. So you have these kind of different needs. On the one hand side, the AI consumers, on the other hand side, the company. And obviously what you can certainly do is you can say, okay, as a company, if somebody wants to use a certain tool, that person or that team has to make sure it's secure, it's compliant, it's cost efficient, etc. So essentially you're shifting left, right? And shift left, yeah, we heard that a couple of times. It's everybody is obviously a fan of it. If you do that, so certainly you can do that, but if you're shifting responsibility here from the right to the left, then you're also shifting complexity. And if you're shifting complexity, that can be quite dangerous, because that might kill or at least slow down your iteration speed. So something that you obviously also want to avoid as a company. Now, the good thing is, I've been talking about AI models here and described the root cause, but AI or LLM, it's not written anywhere here. And that's actually good, because that problem that I'm describing here, that's true for kind of every or almost every IT tool or a tool you want to use in your IT landscape. And that is good news, because we know what the solution to this is, and we've building actually the solution since many years for these kind of problems. And the answer is obviously it's platform engineering. So with the platform, what you're doing is you're building an abstraction layer where you put in the requirements from a company, and the users, the AI consumers, will just go through that platform to consume certain AI services. That's like the base idea, and here's also where I'm coming back to the title with LLMOps. So you would basically build an LLMOps platform. Now, LLMOps, if you search for that, you will find basically different definitions of what LLMOps is. I see it very broad. So sometimes you see LLMOps only as building a model, hosting a model, and evaluating a model. For me, it's much more. That's why I'm also switching the terminology a little bit. I call it simply AI platform for that reason, and the other reason is if I say LLMOps a couple of times, it just sounds weird in my mouth. So I prefer to stick to AI platform. So for the rest of the talk, I might be talking about LLMOps or AI platform, but I mean the same things. So we know that there is an issue, or there can be an issue with this Wild West of model usage. We know where it is coming from. We know that platform engineering can be a solution to it. So how do you actually build it? So let's get a little bit more technical. Two principles I would like to keep you in mind if you go that direction. The first one is obviously cloud native. I mean, we are here at the Cloud Native Summit, so it has to be cloud native. And with cloud native comes also open source. And these two principles are so important for me, because if you bet on open source, if you bet on cloud native, you gain this flexibility you actually need to adapt in these fast changing times. That's the idea behind it. Okay, cloud native, open source, then not very surprisingly, Kubernetes will most likely play a role here. And this is the rectangle you're seeing here. That's Kubernetes cluster or Kubernetes environment. So it can also be multiple Kubernetes clusters. That's really not the important aspect here. And on the left-hand side, you see AI consumer. So that can be an agent, that can be a human, basically anything that needs access to a certain model. And I said it in the beginning, the approach I'm presenting to you is modular, it's step-by-step, it works for small business, mid-sized companies, even for enterprises, it works everywhere, at least in my mind. The first step definitely I advise you to do is to use an AI gateway, because that AI gateway will be the central access point you from your platform perspective, are providing to AI consumers. And that AI endpoint will just be, AI consumers will just use that AI gateway endpoint to consume different models, because what you're doing with that AI gateway is you are configuring access to, in this case, third-party models, Mistral, Anthropic, OpenAI, and whatnot. And for the AI consumer, he does not have to reach out to different endpoints. Just in the request, he can specify, hey, I want to use that model, and the AI gateway will make sure that the request is routed to the correct model or to the specified model. And if you can connect to third-party models, then you can also host your own models. I mean, we saw it in the previous talk. I don't know who of you was here in the previous talk that was about SLMs. You can also host your own open source LLMs, SLMs, if they are providing basically the solution you need. Or if you are creating your own models, then you can also use Kubernetes and run your own models, obviously. So there exist plenty of solutions to do inference in your own cluster. The endpoint that is then provided by the inference engine can be connected to your AI gateway, and you see you're basically extending the access to models via that platform, but nothing is changing for the AI consumer. He can just say, okay, with the request I'm specifying which model I want to use. What you can actually also do is in the AI gateway, you can specify an alias for models. And what this would allow you to do is, as an AI consumer, I can just say, I need a model for planning, right? You do not even specify the model name anymore. You just say planning. And it goes to the AI gateway, and the platform team has specified which model is a good model for planning. So in that case, you make it actually already easier for your AI consumers to consume AI. Because if you are just providing the latest and greatest frontier models, obviously everybody wants to use them, but that can get costly. If you are betting on AI gateways, which I told you should do, then depending on which solutions you are going for, you can get some nice features like guardrails. For those of you who are not familiar with it, guardrails is essentially analyzing the prompt and making sure, for example, that there is no personal identifiable information in there, that there's no hate speech in there, that there is no prompt injection in there. So that's what you do with guardrails. So it's one piece of puzzle for your AI security challenges. It's not a silver bullet, that's for sure not, but it's one piece of the security puzzle. Another piece can be virtual API keys. It again depends on which AI gateway you are using. But what you're doing is, in the AI gateway, you can define API keys and specify to which models that API key has access. And then you can hand out these virtual API keys to agents, to individuals, to teams. And this allows you to restrict access, to track usage, track budget. So this is a tool or a means of gaining visibility and gaining transparency. Okay, if you have that, actually just for the AI gateway, if you just go for the AI gateway, you do not need Kubernetes, obviously. It can be also just a simple containerized solution. Next step is definitely observability. You said it, or I said it in the beginning, that transparency is oftentimes lacking, so you need observability to understand how are your tools being called, what is the input, what is the output. You need observability to evaluate actually which models do really provide a benefit for you, to track usage, to track costs, and then do informed decisions. Because otherwise, if you do not have observability data and you want to make decisions, that's just guessing. And guessing is never really a good idea in these situations. So observability is the next step. And then you might say, okay, I want to actually include my internal knowledge, obviously, into my LLM request. I want to improve the quality, and my internal knowledge is important for that. So the next step could be that you set up a RAG system, and it's just one box here, a RAG system. The RAG system itself can be quite complex. It depends on what you are setting up. But the message here is that, Kubernetes has you covered here. Kubernetes has your back. You can set that up. A RAG system, for some AI gateways, it's possible that you connect it directly to your RAG system. So then again, from a user perspective or from an AI consumer perspective, you would still just go to your AI gateway to even connect to your RAG system, or you just connect directly to your RAG system. That's also possible. After that, if agents is a very important topic to you, then from a platform perspective, it's also a good idea, or can be a good idea, to provide a memory layer that is being used by the agents, because sooner or later you want to make sure that your AI agents have some sort of persistent storage, right? So think about maybe you have an agent that is crashing, You want to make sure that it can pick up the work where it has left the work, because otherwise everything that was done previously is just spent tokens, spent money without any benefit. So that's something you can provide. You can also provide access to MCP servers, where you say, as a platform team, you have a governed set of MCP servers and tools that you are providing to your users, also with authorization, authentication. And to be really true, if you set up an AI gateway, chances are actually quite high that these AI gateways also got you covered there, because most of these AI gateways also have a solution for MCP servers. Okay, so this is like what you can do with an AI platform for AI consumers. If you have, for example, GPUs to host your own models, to host LLMs, if the hardware fits and if that is something you are doing, then you can also use basically these GPUs, for example, in the night. If there is less traffic for the inference part, then you can also reuse the GPUs to do model training, to also host the models, or also save the models like locally to where you want to run them. That's quite important if you have large models. That's also something you can do with an AI platform. And one thing I want to mention regarding that architecture is, I said it, as an AI consumer with the AI gateway, you can either specify the model or the intent of the model, and the AI gateway will make sure that your request is being sent to the proper model endpoint. The next thing I'm very much interested in, what I'm following is just the semantic routing. And with that, you, as an AI consumer, you're not even specifying anymore the intent, you're not specifying the model anymore, you're just sending your request. And the semantic router will, what it basically does, it analyzes the request, it analyzes the prompt, and then it tries to extract signals of it, from it. And these signals are then matched to certain domains or categories. And by that, you can say, okay, this is a, let's say, coding-related questions, I want to send it to a Claude model, or this is just summarizing a PDF, then you don't need to send it to a frontier model. Yes, you can just pick a cheaper model. I know that some companies are using that already in production, I think, a semantic router. Properly configuring that can be quite complex. So I'm not sure if it's already there for production usage, but it will definitely be in the next, I don't know, month, years. I'm not the one who can really decide on that, but that's definitely a topic you should look into or have on your tech radar, semantic routers. Okay, so actually the slide that I'm having here, kind of an anti-pattern, because I don't really want you to read it, I want you to listen to me, but there are a lot of words on it. The point that I want to make here is just that these individual boxes, they are just reflecting different aspects of the previous architecture I'm having there. And the good thing is that if you're betting on open source and cloud native, you have the choice of searching or basically picking the tools that do fit your needs. And that's the important aspect, because this gives you the flexibility I've been mentioning before already. Right? You can pick the tools that fit your needs. And that's important. You don't want to have that classic vendor login if you need flexibility. Okay, so I've been talking a bit about already a couple of capabilities of your AI platform, how you can serve models, how you can do routing, how you can do basically implement a RAG system, MCP servers and whatnot. But you should think even bigger when you are creating such an AI platform. So you can add more capabilities to it, and it's sometimes not really challenging. For example, you can set up a chat interface, like Open Web UI. Run that as part of your AI platform, connect it to your RAG system, and that will already give your employees and your users access to your internal knowledge with a simple chat interface. And that will probably be heavily used. Other aspects could be that you give access to an automation engine, or connect, maybe you have already an automation engine, but connect that to your AI platform. That can help also for non-technical people if you have a no-code or low-code automation engine, automation platform. That can give a boost to your automation of internal processes. In the same direction goes kind of this agent factory, also low-code, no-code, which can help to speed things up for less technical people. And then again, something for the technical people. If you have developers, chances are high that some sort of coding IDE is being used. I don't know, Claude Code, Codex, C-Line, or Klein, however it is pronounced. So there exist a couple of solutions for developers. And often, or more often than not, developers will have configured skills or defined skills and tools. And maybe these are shared within a team. Oftentimes they are not shared across the company, but that's, it's a bit of a shame, because that's kind of a low-hanging fruit to say we are sharing good skills and good tools across the company. You can let developers contribute, and if these skills and tools are being shared across your company, everybody can benefit from that. But that's also something that can then be enforced kind of by the AI platform. And if we have so many capabilities and so many services, then we also need to make sure that these are easily accessible. You remember, ease of use is very important. We want to make them easily accessible and discoverable, so you will probably at some point in time also want to set up a portal. I mean, for developer portals, for developer platforms, we already know the concept of developer portals like Backstage, stuff like that, and this is definitely something you can, and then probably also should, set up for your AI platform as well. But as I said, these are all tools you can do, or certain things you can do. Nothing is a must-have, I would say, except for the AI gateway and the observability part, but everything else is just putting functionality on top, and your company can benefit from it. So if you do that all in that way as I have described it, then I am pretty sure that such an AI platform will be a key component of your business, like a key tool of your business, because it serves so many personas. For these internal developer platforms we've building in the last years, the developers were the main focus of users. But for such an AI platform, you see, it could probably put a lot more names or personas on here, but you will build something that is consumed by technical people like AI engineers, developers, data scientists, etc., by non-humans like agents, but also for less technical people. Right? Remember the chat interface. Everybody or a lot of personas in your company can then benefit from such a platform. That's why I'm saying that it's something, a concept, an idea that is valuable for small companies, for mid-sized companies, for large companies. So, concrete next steps. What do I advise you to do? Start with that AI gateway. It's really not that complex. You can set that up. It already gives you a lot of benefit because it's providing also observability signals. So the next step, I said, it is implement that observability system, or maybe you already have an observability system, I hope so. Make sure that you are consuming these signals from your AI gateway. Then it's probably a good idea to think about if you want to make your internal knowledge available to the consumers or AI consumers, and this is where the RAG system is coming into play. After the RAG system, it depends then a bit on what you actually want to do and what you need for your business, but you can say, okay, I'm setting up that memory layer, I'm looking into MCP servers, stuff like that. I'm going more into the agentic AI direction. Or you say, oh, no, for me now it's more important to provide these, I call it extended capabilities like the chat interface or the automation engine. So these aspects. So that just heavily depends on what you need. Like this, there is no fixed order how you do that, except probably for that AI gateway and the observability, but the rest is pick what you think is really beneficial for your company. That's the idea behind it. And then also keep that semantic router on your list, because it will get more important. It's a very powerful tool to also then save money if you have configured it properly, because then you can make sure that the capable or the most capable models, which often are also the most expensive one, are only being called when you really need them. And that's the whole idea behind that. And obviously, I said it in the beginning, we have a booth outside, so what you can do today, what you can do tomorrow, if you are still here tomorrow, just go to our booth. My colleagues, we're sitting also here at the first row, they have set up a demo. We have an AI gateway there, there's observability, there's the RAG system there is the chat interface there, and I think also an automation engine with Flowwise. Yes, okay, very good. So please come by at our booth. My colleagues will be very happy to walk you through there. I will also be there, so we can have a chat and discuss your open questions, if you have any open questions. If you don't find the time to go there, or if you think here's not the right place or time, then I have 2 QR codes here. The left one, that's just my LinkedIn profile. If you want to connect, I would be very, very happy to do that with you, to get in touch with you. And the other one is a feedback QR code for the session. So I would be very happy to get some feedback, to know if you liked it, what was good, what was not good. And yeah, thank you for coming and thank you for listening in.